Hi, and welcome to the Health Begins with Mom show. I am Dorit Palvanov, your host. On this podcast, I will share insights and interviews on health, parenting, and explore the question of what does it take to thrive as women, wives, and mothers. Now, let's get going with today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Health Begins with Mom podcast. This is Dorit Palvanov, your host. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. As you know, this show is where we talk about about the intersection between your health as a woman, your sacred work in your home as a wife and mother, and how to tap into your life's work as a healer and creative in a way that feels aligned, authentic, and joyful. As I always say, I believe that all mothers are healers and we can make the world a better place. But we have to start with us. We have to begin with us, which is why the show is called Health Begins with Mom. Today on the show, I wanted to share something that I I don't even know where to start. It's a book. It's a prologue from a book that I am reading right now. I'm not entirely finished, but this book has been by far the most incredible in terms of ahas that I'm having. It's like every time I feel like every paragraph of the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so good. And I just posted it on my Instagram. If you're not yet following me on Instagram, go and follow me. You can find me at Health Begins with Mom. And I posted the book, the cover of the book, how it looks like. And I think that this book must be passed down from each mother to daughter. Every single woman on earth must read this book. It is so beautifully written. The author, Geneen Roth, has such a gift in terms of like she has written this in such a reverent and in such a way that just makes you feel like you are such a special being. And we are special beings. And living this life and the day to day and the being in the trenches, especially for us mothers, can sometimes make us feel like we are less than, right? Less than perfect, less than whole, and less than complete. Many times we might feel like we are broken, like we are, guilty, and we're not doing the right things, and we're not showing up to life the way we want to. One of the things that she writes in the book is that there is this immense feeling like we are nobody and we want to be somebody. And because we're not yet that's, somebody, we cause a lot of suffering to ourselves. So the book is called Women, Food, and God. And it's really about everything womanhood and femininity, everything food. She specifically talks about the difficult but also very important relationship that we have with food, and then also God and spirituality and how all of this is interconnected. And so on the show, I've been talking about, I've been covering a little bit concept about spirituality, my own beliefs and faith. And as I'm connecting with more and more of you, with more listeners of the show, I see that you guys you're digging it. You're really enjoying this, and you're really resonating with the sacredness of life and really, our divine and just really divine superpowers, I think, as women. And so today, I think it is very, very fitting to share this with you. I hope you enjoy it. And this piece from the book is called The World on Our Plates. I highly recommend for each and one of you to grab a copy of this book. I personally have both the copy of the book, and also I'm listening to the book to the author. Geneen is herself reading it on as an audiobook. I feel like listening to her speak, listening to her read, it's really incredible. It's almost like it makes me feel more, closer to her, just in a similar way to you listening to me on this show. So without further ado, let's get on with this piece. It's called The World on Our Plate. I hope you enjoy it. So she writes, 80 hungry women are sitting in a circle with bowls of cold tomato vegetable soup. They are glowering at me, furious. It is lunchtime on the third day of the retreat. During these daily eating meditations, each woman approaches the buffet table, lines up to be served, takes her seat in the circle, and waits until we all sit down to eat. The process is agonizingly slow, 15 minutes or so, especially if food is your drug of choice. Although the retreat is going well and many people here have had life-changing insights, at this moment no one cares. They don't care about stunning breakthroughs or having 90 pounds to lose or whether God exists. They want to be left alone with their food, period. They want me to take my fancy ideas about the link between spirituality and compulsive eating and go away. It is one thing to be conscious about food in the meditation hall, and another to be sitting in the dining room, refraining from taking even one bite until the entire group has been served. Also, I've asked that silence to be observed. So there are no reasons of laughter or chatty how are used to distract attention from hunger or lack of it, since not everyone is hungry. The retreat is based on a philosophy I've developed over the past 30 years, that our relationship to food is an exact microcosm of our relationship to life itself. I believe we are walking, talking expressions of our deepest convictions, everything we believe about love, fear, transformation, and God is revealed in how, when, and what we eat. When we inhale Reese's peanut butter cups when we are not hungry, we are acting out an entire world of hope or hopelessness, or of faith or doubt, of love or fear. If we are interested in finding out what we actually believe, not what we think, not what we say, but what our souls are convinced is the bottom line truth about life and afterlife, we need to go no further than the food on our plates. God is not just in the details. God is also in the muffins, the fried sweet potato, and the tomato vegetable soup. God, however we define him or her, is on our plates, which is why 80 women and I are sitting in a circle with cold vegetable soup. I look around the room. Photographs of flowers, intricate close-ups of a red dahlia, the golden edges of a white rose are hanging on the wall. A bouquet of peach gladiolas is displayed so extravagantly on a side table that it looks as if it is prancing at the prom in its finery. When I began noticing the faces of my students, Marjorie, a psychologist in her 50s, is playing with her spoon and doesn't meet my eyes. A 20-year-old gymnast called Patricia is wearing black tights and a lemon-colored tank top. Her tiny body sits like an origami bird on her cushion, delicate, perfectly erect. On her plate is a handful of sprouts and a fistful of salad. That's all. I look to my right and see Anna, a surgeon from Mexico City, biting one of her lips and tapping her fork on the plate impatiently. There are 3 pieces of bread with thick slabs of butter on her plate, a bit of salad, no soup, no vegetables. Her food says, "Fuck you, Geneen. I don't have to play this ridiculous game. Watch me binge the second I get the chance." I nod at her as if to say, "Yep, I understand how hard it is to slow down." I take a quick glance around the rest of the room, at faces, at plates. The air is thick with resistance to this eating meditation. And since I am the one who makes the rules, I am also the one at whom the fury is directed. Getting between people and their food is like standing in front of a speeding train. The act of being stopped in compulsive behavior is not exactly met with good cheer. "Anyone want to say anything before we begin?" I asked. Silence. Then, "Blessings on our food and all that made is possible. The rain, the sun, the people who grew it, brought it here, served it here," I say. I can hear Amanda, who is sitting to my right, taking a deep breath at the sound of the prayer. Across the room, Zoe nods her head as if to say, "All right, the earth, the sun, the rain. Glad they're here." But not everyone is grateful to take one more second to do anything but eat. Louisa, in her bright red running suit, sighs and grunts at an almost indescribable. "Oh, for God's sake, can we please get on with this?" She looks as if she is ready to kill me. Humanly, of course, and only with the slightest bit of suffering, but still. "Now, take some time and notice what you put on your plate," I say. "Notice if you were hungry when you chose the food. If you weren't physically hungry, was there another kind of hunger present? And looking at your plates, decide what you want to eat first and take a few bites. Notice how the food feels in your mouth. If it tastes like you thought it would taste. If it does what you thought it would do." 3, 4 minutes passed amid the symphony of eating sounds, rustling, chewing, swallowing, clinking. I noticed that Izzy, a 6'2" willowy woman from France, is looking out the window and seems to have forgotten that we are eating. But most people are holding the plates up to their mouths so they can get the bites in faster. Lori, a 35-year-old CEO of a Boston mortgage company, raises her hand. "I'm not hungry, but I want to be. I want to eat anyway." "Why is that?" I asked. "Because it looks good and it's here, right now. It's the best comfort in town. What's wrong with wanting comfort from food?" "Not a thing," I say. "Food is good and comfort is good, except that when you're not hungry and you want comfort, food is only a temporary palliative. Why not address the discomfort directly?" "It's too hard to address things directly, too painful, and there isn't any end to it. And if it's going to be endlessly painful, then at least I have food," she answers. "So you figure that the best you can get out of life is cold vegetable soup." When she talks again, her voice is quivering. "It's the only true comfort I have, and I am not going to deprive myself of it." A tear jogs down her right cheek, hovers on her top lip. Heads nod in assent. A wave of murmurs passes around the circle. Lori says, "This thing we do here, waiting in silence until everyone gets their food, reminds me of what it was like to eat dinner in our family. My mother was drinking, my father was furious, and no one was talking. It was horrible." "What were you feeling during those times?" I asked. Lonely, miserable, like I was born into the wrong family. I wanted to escape, but there was no place to go. I felt trapped. And this feels the same way, like all of you are crazy and I'm trapped here with a bunch of loonies. More head nods, more murmurs. A woman from Australia looks at me defiantly, her black waist length hair brushing the edge of the soup bowl. I imagine she's thinking that Lori is right, and can she get a ride to the airport in 15 minutes? But right here, right now, in the center of this wound, I've been abandoned and betrayed by who and what really matters, and what I've got left is food, is where the link between food and God exists. It marks the moment when we gave up on ourselves, on change, on life. It marks the place where we are afraid. It marks the feelings we won't allow ourselves to feel. And in so doing, keeps our lives constricted and dry and stale. In that isolated place, it is a short step to the conclusion that God, where goodness and healing and love exists, abandoned us, betrayed us, or is a supernatural vision of our parents. Sorry, or is a supernatural version of our parents. Our practice at the retreats of working through this despair is not one of exerting will or conjuring up faith, but being curious, gentle, and engaged with the cynicism, the hopelessness, the anger. I ask Lori if she can make room for the part of her that feels trapped and lonely. She says no, she can't. She says she just wants to eat. I ask her if she is willing to consider the possibility that this has nothing to do with food. She says no, she can't. She is staring at me with a look of grim determination that says, keep out, go away, not interested. Her eyes are narrow, her mouth is tight. The room feels as if the air has been sucked out of it. People have stopped breathing. They are staring at me and at Lori, waiting. I'm wondering, I say, why you are so intent on keeping me out. It seems as if there is a part of you bent on isolation, maybe even destruction. She puts down her spoon, which she has been holding in midair, and stares at me. Have you given up? I ask. It's a risky question because it plunges right into the despair, but I ask it since she has been fighting with me for the past 3 days and I'm concerned about her leaving the retreat in a state of stony withdrawal. When did the determination not to believe in anything ever again set in? She inhales sharply, sits without speaking for a few minutes. I look around the room. Suzanne, a mother of 3 young children, is crying. Victoria, a psychiatrist from Michigan, is watching, waiting, absorbed in what is happening. I've wanted to die since I was about 10, Lori says quietly. Can you make room for the 10-year-old? I ask. The one who didn't see any way out of the hopeless situation she found herself in? Very gently, see if you can sense the hurt itself. Lori nods her head. I think I can do that, she says quietly. I ask her to do this not so that she can comfort her inner child. I don't believe in inner children. I do believe that there are frozen places in ourselves, undigested pockets of pain that need to be recognized and welcomed, so that we can so that we can contact that which has never been hurt or wounded or hungry. Although the work we do at the retreat is often experienced as therapeutic, it is not therapy. Unlike therapy, it is not designed to bolster self-esteem, which was created in reaction to our past. The work at the retreat is designed to reveal that which is beyond self-esteem, unconditioned by our past, our personality and its defenses, one of which is our emotionally charged relationship to food, are a direct link to our spirituality. They are the breadcrumbs leading us home. Lori says, I don't know what just happened, but suddenly I have no desire to eat the soup. I say, it seems as if there is something even better than food, touching what you considered untouchable and viscerally discovering that you are bigger than your pain. She nods her head and smiles for the first time in 3 days. Life doesn't seem so bad at this moment. Saying out loud how bad I thought it was when I was 10 makes it seem not so bad now. I guess what happens is that I can feel the 10-year-old and how big her sadness was without totally becoming her. That's a good thing. The simple fact that her pain can be touched and that it won't destroy her means that all is not lost or hopeless or unredeemable. I nod my head and ask if she wants to keep talking to me. She says, I think this is enough for now. I ask people to pick up their silverware and take a few more bites, noticing what they want to eat, how it tastes, how they feel. A few minutes later, Nell, a student at the retreats for 7 years, raises her head. I am not hungry anymore, but I suddenly realize that I'm afraid to push the food away. Why? I ask. Because, and she starts to cry, because I realize I'm not broken and that you will be angry at me if you know. Why would I be angry at you? I asked. Because you'd see who I really am and you wouldn't like it. What would I see? Vitality, a lot of energy, determination, strength. Wow, I say. And what wouldn't I like about that? Well, I wouldn't need you then, and you would be threatened by that. Who are you taking me to be? Anyone you know who anyone you know who was threatened by how gorgeous you are? Nell starts to laugh. Hi, Mom, she says. The room erupts in a wave of laughter. She was so depressed, Nell says, and if I was just myself, that was too much for her. I needed to shut down the bigness. I needed to be as broken as she was. Otherwise, she'd reject me, and that was unacceptable. What's happening in your body, Nell? I asked. It feels like a fountain of color, she says. It's as if I am streaming with vivid hues of red, green, gold, black, streaking in my chest, my arms, my legs. Okay, let's stop here for a minute. I look around the room. Anna, who'd wanted to tell me to fuck off, is crying. Camille, who has looked bored since the retreat started, seems utterly absorbed in what is happening. The group attention is riveted by what Nell is saying about the need to be broken. They can relate to the belief that if they keep themselves wounded and damaged, they will be loved. I look at Nell and say, when you stop and let yourself feel what is being offered to you, it is never, ever what you thought it would be. You go from being afraid to being a fountain in 3 minutes. Nell says, it feels as if this quiet, calm place has been waiting for me to come back to it, like it's been here all my life, like it's more me than anything else. And then Nell stands up and looks around the room. She pulls her chair aside and says, listen to this, girls. I am not broken. More laughter. Then Nell continues, this process amazes me. First, I had to deal with the food thing. I really did have to stop using food to comfort myself. Otherwise, I felt so crazy. And there was no time for this spiritual stuff. Then, my eating calmed down. I had to at least allow myself to feel the feelings of brokenness. That was tough. That was the part where I just had to believe what you were saying, Geneen, that my resistance to pain was worse than the pain. But to actually feel that I am not broken, I can hardly explain what that is like. It's like being a piece of holiness. It's like saying that goodness is not just for everyone else, it's also for me. It is me. Since it's almost time for the next session to begin in meditation hall, I ask people to check in with their hunger levels, to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being hungry and 10 being full, and to eat accordingly. We'll meet down in the meditation hall in 30 minutes, I say, standing up from my seat. As I'm about to walk out the room, a woman named Marie grabs my hand and says, I just have to say one thing to the group. Is that okay? I nod my head, bracing myself for what is coming. Marie has been a skeptic since the retreat began. She has sat in the sessions glaring at me with her arms folded across her chest as if to say, prove it to me, honey. Prove that this food thing is anything more than just shutting my mouth. After each talk I've given, she has challenged me, confronted me. Yesterday, she told me she was so sorry that she ever came. That is just go, she says, and I'm tired of it. I just want to lose the damn weight and be done with it. What's go? I asked. Another fucking growth opportunity, Marie answered. I laughed so hard I started snorting. I'm sorry for laughing, I said, but it seems as if AFGOs have gotten a bad rap. Maybe you will find that this retreat opens you in ways you never imagined. I doubt it, she answered, and stomped away, her loose ponytail of curly red hair bobbling as her body recedes in the distance. Now, in the dining room, Marie says, it just occurred to me that everything we believe about our lives is right here. The whole world is on these plates. Amen, sister, I say. Before stepping out the door, I bent down to Marie's ear and quietly say, let's hear it for AFGOs. On my way to the meditation hall, I am once again aware that the entire retreat could take place in the dining room. That what we believe about food and eating is an exquisite reflection of all our beliefs. As soon as the food comes out, the feelings come out. As soon as the feelings come out, there is an inevitable recognition of the self-inflicted violence and suffering that fuel any obsession. And on the heels of that recognition comes the willingness to engage with and unwind the suffering rather than be its prisoner. The exquisite paradox of this engagement is that when the suffering is fully allowed, it dissolves. Weight loss occurs easily, naturally, and without the self-inflicted pain and the stories about what is wrong. What's left is what was there before they began. Our connection to meaning and to that which we find holy. Oh, so beautifully written. Do you agree, sister? Oh my gosh, she's such an amazing writer. She's the author of many other books. I will make sure to link up to all of them in the show notes below. So make sure to head on over to my website, www.healthbeginswithmom.com/ep-99. Yes, we are one episode away from 100. So excited, so exciting. So my love, what you've heard here, it's actually the truth. I've experienced it in my own life. I've experienced it and I've seen it in the lives of my clients. Weight loss and our, years-long battles with our body insecurity and how we look and, looking in the mirror and really liking or not liking what we see. It's all reflected in our relationship with food. And, it makes me think, and I think I've heard this in one of the lectures I attended. This lecture was given by a rabbi, and the rabbi, basically somebody asked, why didn't God create us to eat just once a day? Why do we have to eat constantly? And now reading this, it makes total sense, because God could have easily made us not even needing to eat at all, right? Why is it that we need to be eating in order to feel alive or in order to live, right? In order to sustain us? Why do we need food? And so it makes total sense, because the way we eat, the way we approach the food, especially not so much when we are sitting, when we're eating in company, but mostly when we are eating alone. This is when the true style of our eating and the style of how we're treating ourselves, this is when all of this comes out to the surface. So after this beautiful prologue, what I want to invite you to do is to just start paying attention. Start noticing, how do you eat? Do you put a lot of food on your plate, or do you not put, enough food? Do you overeat? Do you undereat? Do you eat a lot of junk? Do you eat your kids' scraps? Do you eat leftovers? Do you have a tendency of not eat at all during the day and then binge at night? Do you have a tendency of reaching out to food when you're bored, when you're feeling like you're a little lonely or sad or needing something beyond, just to kind of comfort you and make you feel, happier again or vital again? All of those things, these are clues, these are signs, and I want you to start noticing them. And the next thing I want you to do is I want you to find me on Instagram, and I want you to share this with me if you feel called to do so. I would love to root for you, to share this, to share this moment with you. This is what I'm here for. So find me over at Instagram at Health Begins with Mom, or if you're not on Instagram, you're welcome to send me an email. So you can find me at Dorit at healthbeginswithmom.com and share your findings with me. It would bring me so much joy to know that this touched you and you resonated with it. And let me know if you want me to bring more of these stories and books and share more books like these on the show. All right, my love, I hope this was helpful for you. Pay attention to how you eat. Share this with me, and I will catch you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Health Begins with Mom show. I love hearing from you, so please post your comments and questions over at healthbeginswithmom.com/podcast. If you love the show, please share it on social media and in your real life with other moms who might enjoy this content. And if you have a burning question or topic you'd like me to hit on the show, just drop me a line at dorit@healthbeginswithmom.com. And if you love the show and really want to support it, please go to iTunes, write a review, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Much love and many blessings.